need to have a ton of experience, a ton of deals under your belt. One or two successful deals, statistically speaking, puts you ahead of 95% of the general population who has never, ever, ever invested in a revenue property. Their own house does not count as a revenue property. So if you've got one or two successful deals under your belt, you're good to go as far as I'm concerned. And you are bringing a ton of value to the table. You're helping other people do something they cannot do on their own or will not do on their own. And that is investing in real estate without the hassles and the headaches of being a landlord and dealing with tenants and toilets. So that's the first thing, is having that mindset that, yes, what you're bringing to the table is hugely valuable. There's a need for it. And you're actually doing people a favor by getting them involved in your good real estate deals. Does that make sense, Eric?
Oh, that's a perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was honored to be on your show. And we did talk about this briefly, but I think that you said it better actually, is like you're providing value. And I think that's another shift in people's mind with raising capital, is early on in your head, you're like, I'm asking for money.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, it's actually, I'm providing an opportunity. And so if you can shift your mind a little bit to that as well, like you described, you're providing this service really for plenty of people out there who have maybe some expendable income, but don't have the time or desire. Lots of people want to be in real estate, but don't really love learning about it. I mean, it's sort of like the stock market in the sense that like people want to invest in Apple, but they don't want to learn about the company. So they kind of have to trust what the company is doing. And that's kind of what you're doing when you're raising capital is, look, I have the knowledge, I have the know-how, I have also the skill to find the deal, but I'm providing the service for you where you can get a return on your money. And what I think is perhaps the best vehicle in the world in real estate. I mean, it's hard to argue against it, I think.
Well, you're not going to get any argument from me, man. We both drank that Kool-Aid a long time ago.
Yes, we did. Well, very cool. Thanks for the kind of actionable tip. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and then the other things are kind of mindset things as well, which are really important. And the big I chuckle because I had to learn this the hard way. The big lesson I learned early on was, when it comes to the money and the deal, chicken and the egg, which comes first, my thinking is get the capital lined up first and then go looking at deals. Because when I first started raising capital, I did it the opposite way, because some freaking guru out there, or I read somewhere, hey, just find a good deal and the money will magically find you. And I believed that, or at least, I was too lazy not to think about that. And that's not how it worked for me, at least, Eric, because when I had that good deal and I didn't have the money, I didn't have the investors lined up, it didn't really matter how good the deal was. I was starting from scratch. I was under a time crunch, and that caused me to be desperate. And that desperation oozed out of every single pore in my body. So when I picked up the phone and tried dialing for dollars, which sucks,
yes, it does.
don't recommend that either. That desperation came out when I tried networking, schmoozing, doing my 30-second commercial, and anybody would listen to it. I got a bunch of weird looks, and that didn't work either. Because again, that desperation just oozed out of every pore of my body. When I came up with my brainstorm of, hey, why don't I just email everybody I know with this deal? That didn't work either, because again, that's tacky and it's just desperate, right? So don't, you guys, if you're listening to this, don't do that stuff. There's a better way. And big picture is, start talking with people about your deals before you need the money, because then you won't be desperate, and then you can get your investor ducks in a row. That's my whole goal for our clients. Let's get you 3, 4, 5, 6 people lined up who've all said, hey, Eric, when you've got a deal, I want first dibs and I'm in for X amount. If you've got a whole bunch of those people lined up, ready to go, and you've got more capital lined up than you actually need, now you can go out, you can start looking at deals, negotiating deals, getting deals under contract with confidence. And that's huge. So I don't know, that's a tip so much as a mindset kind of a thing, but I don't know, that's been really, really important for me.
That's an outstanding tip. In fact, most people who I ask who are very started into this. So we put on a conference and we do it twice a year. This one's coming up in October 6th. Anyway, so we basically will eat dinner, breakfast, lunch with all these people there. That's my favorite part, is just kind of the networking and talking to people. And they say, hey, how do I get started raising capital. Because I think a lot of people want to be that sort of capital raiser if they're an extreme extrovert, or had success in that venue. And I said, get the word out way before the deal. So I love
Yeah.
what you just said. And I don't think it's said enough, because industry standard still is find a deal and money will follow. And that's bogus. I think so. I
I'd
love what
like
you said.
I'd like to
Yeah.
find whoever came up with that expression in the first place, to punch them right in the head.
Yeah. And I'll watch. We'll video it.
You can be
That's
my backup.
that's funny. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's true. And a lot of times it takes stepping out of your comfort zone, right? So like for me, I've had some success with telling people who don't, I'm known as an engineer. Like that's kind of my background, so people knew that.
Yeah.
So saying, oh, actually I'm a real estate investor as well. Even those words can get fumbled in my mouth because I'm like, man, it's just hard and new.
Well,
But
yeah.
that's what you have to do, is take the leap and say, look, I'm a real estate investor. I have success in this. I'm looking for partners who want to place their capital and gain a return. And, I don't know the tax code in Canada at all, but in the United States, we have pretty good tax benefits. So there's a lot of reasons why people would invest
Oh,
in real
definitely.
estate. And so there's
Definitely.
really that kind of pitch before the deal too, plus the desperation thing. I mean,
Well,
once,
and what we recommend is, especially if you're just getting started with raising capital, you want to go fish where you're most likely to catch something, right? So a lot of people I see when they first want to start raising capital, they start going out, and especially if they're not extroverts, which most people are not, right? So it feels really weird to go pitch yourself and all that kind of stuff. So what we do instead is we focus on helping people create a target group of what I call your dream 200 prospective investors. And that's step number one of our process is come up with this list of a couple of hundred people who you already have a pre-existing relationship with, right? So obviously your family members, your friends, your coworkers, business associates, people you know from Rotary or service clubs or sporting groups, whatever. You know them, they know you. And this is the fastest, most logical, and the safest place for you to get started. So our first job is, let's come up with a list of a couple of hundred of these people, which sounds very intimidating, but actually if you export all your phone contacts and your social media contacts and your email contacts, chances are you got way more than that, and you filter it down to a couple of hundred people. So create that target group of 100 to 200 people. And then here's the real trick, Eric. Here's an actionable thing. So first, action number one, create that list. Action number two, before we start, quote unquote, pitching our deals, let's reconnect with those folks on more of a personal level first and set the stage for everything that's going to be coming down the road. So that what we do for our clients is we do a 3-step email warm-up campaign. So we put all those contacts into an email system, and then first email goes out saying, hey, it's Dave. Chances are it's been a while since we connected. Just want to reach out, say hi, see how you're doing, let you know what I've been up to. And then I do a brief little summary of what myself and the family have been up to for the last 3, 4, 5 years. And I don't mention real estate stuff in there. I'm not trying to pitch real estate here. I'm legitimately just trying to reconnect with people on a personal level first, right? And at the end of that message, I say, hey, well, that's what I've been up to. How about you? How are you doing? Please hit reply to this email. Let's catch up. I'd love to reconnect with you. You send that out to all 150, 200 people. Then you're not going to get everybody responding back to you, but you'll probably get 20 to 30 people responding back to you. And there's capital in those connections, right? So you want to get started on the right foot. We do a couple of messages like that. We do what I call a transition message, where we let people know that, hey, moving ahead, we're going to do a better job of staying in touch, start letting you know what we're up to with real estate investing. Who knows, maybe sometime in the future, you might even want to partner with us on a deal. All right. So that's kind of that first little campaign, that first kick of the can. Very, very low key, not salesy, not pushy, not talking about any specific deal, just kind of reconnecting with people first. So that was a big mistake I made back in the deal, because I was desperate, just charging in. I got a deal. Do you want it? You got any money? Do you want to invest? Right? Doesn't go over well. So set the stage, create that list first, set the stage, reconnect with people, and then you have set yourself up for success. And it doesn't need to take very long. When we're doing this with clients, that's basically a 1-week process to get those 3 communication set out. And then now we're set up to really get things going with marketing. So that's kind of the second, another big mindset shift for me anyhow, Eric. And I think you might resonate with this as well, is I'm not, believe it or not, even though I've got podcasts and I do public speaking and all this kind of stuff, I'm really not an extrovert. I'm more of an introvert. And I find it so much easier to talk with people about real estate deals if they ask me versus me pushing it on them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
So
Yeah.
everything we're doing with all of the marketing is designed for that, is to create curiosity. It's to get people to self-identify, to put their hand up and to say, hey, Eric, what's this real estate thing you're up to, man? It sounds pretty cool. Tell me more. Because if we can get those conversations going versus us pushing ourselves onto people, it's going to be so much more pleasant. You're going to have so much more success, and you're not going to feel salesy or high pressure or sleazy or anything like that. So that's the whole goal behind this process, is to get people coming to you, ideally pre-educated, predisposed, pre-qualified, and ready to invest.